beginning to think you weren't coming.
Marshal, you know how much I love solving mysteries. You said that this meeting was going to be good for me and my client.
I don't need to remind you of how well I prepared my case. You watched the jury as intently as I have, and you've seen me take them by their collective hands and walk them down the path toward the verdict of guilty. Now, I'm perfectly content to let them stay there. However, in the interest of your client, I'm willing to stop this whole thing right now. In short, as state representative, what I'm offering you, Harold, is an out. Are you interested?
Now look, the only thing that will give Andrea's testimony credibility is your reaction to it. And your reaction, if the press is smart enough to catch you, is coming from Washington. Here, you leave at 5.
You don't think they'll see this for what it is?
What it is a prearranged meeting with the leader of your party in Congress. Now, don't you worry. I'll handle all objections from this end.
This is still open for discussion.
Congressman Carruthers' office?
Aren't you jumping the gun just a little bit there, Sebastian? Lee hasn't even taken office yet.
What do you want, Andrea?
Well, at the very least, a little respect. After all, it took hundreds of people and lots of money to get Lee elected, and to think that just one person can undo all that is pretty impressive, don't you think?
If what you're trying to get me interested in is plea bargaining, I think you know my answer to that. And may I remind you that though you may have led them down a certain path, it is now my job to see if I can lead them back. Or are you suggesting some lack of confidence in my ability to present my defense?
No, Harold, I'm not questioning your abilities. Just your client's innocence.
Well, that is your job.
Well, even if it wasn't, I'd have to believe he did it. I think even you, though you won't admit it, have a feeling deep down inside that he may have done it.
I will admit that I had some doubts, but not anymore.
Why? Because he's a nice guy? Even nice guys do not such nice things under the influence of drugs.
That was an accident.
Exactly. And it's that accident that'll give you an out. A plea of voluntary manslaughter will give your client about 20 years less than first-degree murder. What are you going to show us in the next couple of days? A line of character witnesses all praising the virtues of Dave Phillips? Remember, his virtues were only apparent when he wasn't impaired by that drug. And every time I cross-examine, I'm going to have to make that point over and over again. Now, I think it's cruel of you to raise your client's hopes.
Marshal, I believe that you think you're doing him a favor when you make this offer. And I appreciate your concern. But my conscience won't allow me to ask him to plead guilty to something I don't think he did.
But it will allow you to watch him go off to prison for 30 years. Well, I tried. You know, it isn't your decision. It's his.
She wants to talk to you. Try to talk her into meeting you somewhere before she goes into court. Promise her anything.
Hello, Andrea, darling.
Are you going to be there to hear all the sordid details today?
What details?
Forgotten already. Somehow I thought I was more memorable than that.
Oh, come on, Andrea, please.
Don't worry. After today, you're going to remember me. At least I'll have that satisfaction.
Oh, Andrea, you know something? I just can't stand these bad feelings between us. Can't we just, well, you know, sit down someplace and talk this thing all out?
But that's just the point, Lee. I am getting the chance to sit down and talk it out. It'll be just like therapy.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You'd like to get the chance to get me to shut my mouth.
Oh, no. I just want a chance to be alone with you because, Andrea, I've missed you.
Very smoothly. Is Sebastian holding your cue cards?
Oh, no, wait a minute. I do miss you.
Let's get one thing straight. The only thing you miss is someone to grope. I'm sure after my departure, Sebastian forced you into a lifestyle of abstinence. Well, I'm sorry, Lee. You'll just have to find someone else.
All right, then why did you call?
I called to extend an invitation. You see, I'm a late addition to the scorecard, and I just didn't want you to miss all the excitement, that's all.
Oh, well, thank you for your kindness.
You're very welcome. I hope to see you there.
Well, I just can't stand here and let her do this.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Grab your coat and let's go.
Wait a minute, where?
The courthouse. We're going to try to stop her before she goes in.
It'll be nice when this is all over, won't it?
Yes, it will.
Well, how'd it go?
It went.
What did he say?
He made a firm offer to reduce the charge to voluntary manslaughter.
You mean if I plead guilty?
That is correct.
Well, it would mean a lot less time in prison, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if we lost.
Well, what did you say to him?
I told him I didn't think we'd lose. Look, Dave, if you're having serious second thoughts about this or doubts, then I'll abide by your wishes. I'll plea bargain. But I want to remind you about a couple of things. Look, all we're trying to do is convince the jury that the information, the evidence that they're using against you is circumstantial. I'll admit that some people have been convicted on less, but I'm also trying to convince them that with the same circumstantial information and evidence that they could easily have convicted any number of other witnesses they've seen sitting in that very chair. I'll admit it's a gamble, and I sure don't have to tell you about the stakes. Well, is it worth the risk to you?
Just don't see how I have any other choice.
Maybe it's just a bluff.
There was no bluff.
Well, then where is she?
Will you just relax? She'll be here.
Maybe they're bringing her in a different way.
They have no reason not to come in the front.
No? What would you call us?
I'd call you annoying. And me at the end of my rope. Now, will you stop it?
Sebastian, do you think the district attorney knows what Andrea's testimony is going to contain?
I doubt it.
And do you think that he could discredit her and protect me if he did know?
He might.
It's all in asking the right question when you make cross-examination.
Minimizing our damages are about all we can hope for right now.
At this point, I'll take even that. Even with that much, I think we could save the congressional seat.
Well, now you can't tell him everything.
Oh, I wouldn't. Just a few selected portions. Ha! Well, Marshal, good morning. We were just talking about you.
Sebastian?
Say, something very important has come up. I wonder if I might have a word with you.
Sure, come on in and sit down.
Well, actually, this will require a little privacy.
Lee, court is going to convene any minute. I have to...
Oh, well, I'll be very brief, I promise you. As I said, it's very important, and that's why I'm insisting. I would even go so far as to say that it will be vital to your case.
All right.
Thank you. Come on, Sebastian.
Did you ever think back in college, Doug, that we'd be this successful?
So this is what success is, huh?
Yeah, I did. At least I knew I'd be. I always knew that you had an attitude problem. See, Doug, you gotta believe me, attitude is 90% of success.
Okay, Dan, I can do without the lectures. Thank you.
Well, you're gonna keep getting it from me until you can demonstrate to me that you got no problem with.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were alone.
Nancy, I don't like you barging into my office like this.
Well, Audrey wasn't at her desk.
Well, the
so
least you can do is knock. Now, we're trying to conduct some important business here.
I'm sorry. I'll wait outside.
No, that's quite all right. I was on my way out anyway.
Wait a minute. I know you. Weren't you at Ben and Lori's wedding? Yes, Doug Hughes, right?
Yeah, that's right. Your name is Nancy, isn't it?
Nancy Lawson.
Nancy. Well, listen, nice seeing you again, Nancy. I'm really in a big hurry, though. Excuse me.
Wait a minute. That's Ben and Lori's lawyer, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, what is he doing here?
All right, I'm listening.
Marshal, someone is going to take the stand today. Someone who doesn't think very highly of me.
And you're afraid Webster is going to use him to connect you with the murder?
Yes, and it's a she. Her name is Andrea Summers.
Let's have it.
Well, Andrea was a campaign worker of mine, and when Kate decided that she didn't want to marry me and went back to Dave Phillips again, Andrea and I just sort of...
Not a wise move during a political campaign, would you say?
No, I guess it wasn't, but then you have to understand that
I'm not interested in your justification. Just how long did this affair last?
Only a few months. I broke it off the moment that Kate decided to marry me.
Then this girl's going to give a different version when she takes a stand.
I think so, yes.
Lee, whose version is the truth?
Oh, but mine, of course.
Oh, of course. I swear it is. Well, what aren't you telling me?
Well, that's it, I promise. As a matter of fact, I told Kate all about the relationship before we got married.
Oh, really? And how did she react to it?
Well, you know, how could she? I mean, she was a mature woman. Of course, she didn't expect me to be celibate while she was reconsidering Dave Phillips. But then after I told her all about it, we both agreed to let the past be the past and go ahead and live our lives. We were very much in love, Marshal.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, you see, Andrea disappeared right about the time of the wedding. I, of course, thought that the affair was over, forgot about it until I saw her talking with Webster the day before yesterday, and then I got suspicious, and I have since talked with her, and my suspicions have been confirmed. She's very angry at me for breaking off that affair, and she wants to get even, Marshal.
Did you perjure yourself? I mean, even just a little when you gave your testimony?
No.
Lee.
No!
Don't jerk me around. This is the same girl who upset Kate at the wedding reception, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
And I'm not blind. I saw what was going on when Webster was questioning you. Andrea Summers was the blonde in the back of the courtroom, wasn't she?
Yes, all right. But I can't remember all the details of what happened at the lodge that day.
Do you know what this trial means to me?
Well, I realize that you have political ambitions, yes. And now you know how important that this is to me. Unless you make Andrea Summers look like the vindictive tramp that she is, I may not get my congressional seat, and then I won't be in a position to do something about your political ambitions.
This better be worth my while.
Get out of my way.
Hear me out first.
I don't care to hear anything you have to say.
Andrea, please. Just listen to reason.
Do you want to be featured on the 6 o'clock news with Lee? If you don't, get out of my way or I'll have you charged with harassment.
All right, I assume that you don't care anything about your career. I haven't forgotten that little cozy chat we had that afternoon, the one about your future.
What about it?
Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Didn't it include your eventually holding office yourself?
That was just a passing comment, a pipe dream.
I don't think so. It was said with too much conviction. It's very easy for the ambitious to recognize the ambitious, Andrea. No. 2 careers could be ended with your testimony today, Lee's and yours. See, you'd be on national news. And contrary to popular belief, politicians have very long memories, especially when it involves scandal. See, there's a great deal of paradox in this line of work. Public office holders have a great deal of tolerance for each other's quirks and peculiarities, but one thing they won't tolerate is indiscretion. That's the great sin of politics, Andrea. And that's the sin you're about to commit.
Well, don't worry. I'll survive.
Oh, of course you will. But not in this line of work. Now, of course, that doesn't matter to you today, perhaps, but one day, I assure you, it will. Look, why don't you forget about this? Come with us to Washington. You know, Lee never has gotten over you. In fact, I can promise you, you come with us to Washington, and things will be just like they were before.
Nancy, now look, how many times do you want me to say it? There's nothing unusual about 2 opposing lawyers getting together to discuss a case. It's our clients who hate each other, not us.
Well, I still think your profession is a little too clubby. You know, like you have some private joke going where you're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes.
Well, I mean, we don't have anything against each other, if that's what you mean. See, to us, a court case is like a tennis match or something. I mean, we both try hard, but whoever wins, there's no hard feelings. See, we try as hard as we can to maintain a good professional relationship with each other. That's all.
Does that mean that you're friends socially or something?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we are. In fact, Doug and I have a whole lot in common. We went to college together, see? That's all. Now, what is it that was so important that you had to come see me today?
You in the right one, Andre? Yeah, maybe.
Well, how'd it go?
Better than I expected. I promised her a future with you.
She bought it?
Well, maybe. I know I at least shook her up a little. See, what we see here is a girl who wants to get even for reasons that I promised her don't exist anymore. 15 minutes ago, we had about a 1 in a million chance of getting out of this thing unharmed. But now, I'd say the odds were just about even. How'd it go with you?
I promised Lockwood a future with us, too.
Nice touch.
I thought you'd appreciate it. I gave him just enough information to make Andrea look like a jealous female when he cross-examines.
Well, that's even necessary.
Let's assume that it will be.
Well, if she does testify against you, then I assume you'll be called to the stand. In which case you lie. Right now, it's just her word against yours.
Is she still sticking to her story?
As far as I know. Do you have some information that she might not?
No, I was just thinking of our conversation the morning of the wedding. She can be slippery.
Well, right now she's angry. I don't think anything's going to change that.
Well, I hope not. I just want this whole thing to be over. I don't care if anyone else is charged. I just want you to be cleared.
You won't get any arguments from me on that, honey.
I think you better take your seat now. We're probably going to get started in a minute.
Okay.
All rise.
Court is now in session. Mr. Webster, is the defense ready to present its case?
Yes, Your Honor, we are.
You may proceed.
Thank you. The defense would like to call Andrea Summers to the stand.
swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
Please state your full name and address for the court.
Andrea Lenore Summers. My current address is 50 Crescent Circle, Portland, Maine.
Are you employed?
No.
What was your last employment?
Lee Carruthers. I was a research assistant for his campaign.
And why did you leave the campaign? Is it because the election was over?
No.
Well, what was the reason?
I was fired.
I see. Was any reason given for the firing?
Sebastian Knight, the campaign manager, said something about my work not being the quality that he needed. That was really all that was said.
Are you sure that was all?
Listen, honey, I don't know what's going on here, but are you going to let them make a fool out of you again?
Objection, Your Honor. If Mr. Webster wants to talk to the witness while she's on the stand, let him speak loud enough for both of us to hear.
Sustained. Mr. Webster, now I shouldn't have to remind you
wait, that's not exactly true. Mr. Knight did say something about my work, but that was just an excuse. The real reason that I was fired is because I was having an affair with Lee Carruthers.